some changes in the building, staff and players as well. I think 46 new players here on our roster heading into this season. It's been a really good winter, and today was the start of what we're doing on the field during the course of spring ball. Got the guys back 9 days off of spring ball. Got them going today, and good effort, good energy, and we'll continue to progress with another practice tomorrow as well. And excited about the effort and the attitude that these guys had, the strength gains, the speed gains, the size that they've added during the course of our winter off season, and now you get a chance to get into the fundamentals, technique, and the scheme, and the growth that we're going to need there as well. And we're just looking forward to it with these guys. So open it up.
Questions? We'll start with Vince and then go to Brent.
I know it's day one, but what are some changes maybe to your practices that you've implemented for this spring, and I guess including the no music there with the stretching at the beginning?
Yeah, well, today's day one practice, just getting those guys used to and accustomed to the flow of it. What drills are coming next. Just ability to communicate as we get going. There'll be more music for you guys to make sure that you're entertained during the course of our warm up. Yeah, miss seeing Hubs dance on the sideline, but not a ton of drastic changes. Within the scope of what we're doing scheme-wise, some subtle things, and I talked about it a minute ago, but the long break, just the structure of our calendar when we started class, got these guys in the weight room, having a long break here before we get started into our spring ball, a little bit of a flush type practice today, and tomorrow we'll get going with longer duration and a little bit more intensity in some of our group work drills too.
Brent on the left.
By the way, I have mad dance skills. My question is, what does a good winter look like, and have you had bad winters with football teams?
I don't know that we've had bad winters. I think you look at this winter, changes in the weight room. You look at the frames, the mass that we added, the strength numbers that we got out of it weekly, and then the speed numbers as well. I think it's been a great winter as far as the development of our bodies in there. That encompasses what Derek's doing in the weight room, but handling all the performance side of it, what our nutrition staff has done, then working together with our medical team as well. Just really like what we've done here in the 7 weeks of our off season before we got into spring ball. The expectation is that we're still making some of those gains as we're going through spring ball here as well. Just the design of our days and being able to maximize, still getting great work in the weight room as well.
Patrick and Ben.
Josh, you touched on the strength and speed and all those gains. What other ways you think Derek can impact your program beyond just making guys bigger, faster, stronger?
Yeah, well, I think it comes down to the accountability and everything that you're doing every single day, the mental side of how you approach everything, the accountability piece, every rep, every single day parlays itself into how you need to play. When you get to the Saturdays in the fall, it's got to be in the structure of what you're doing every single day.
Josh, what do you want George and Faison to get out of this first week of spring practice as younger guys?
Yeah, they've had a good winter with the introduction of some of the things that we're doing offensively. George obviously has more time on task with the general basis of what we're doing. But as those guys have come into the program, gaining an understanding of what we're doing, communication, how they're calling protections, adjusting protections, our run game rules, being able to control everything that we're doing, and then starting to master what's going on the back end from the defensive structures as well, and ultimately become a guy that is playing extremely efficiently, starts with their eyes, being able to see things, work through the progression and the fundamentals and the technique to deliver the ball consistently and accurately. That guy's got to play on edge. He's got to go make plays, but he's also got to take care of the football.
Adam, then Elijah.
Yeah, right. Sorry. Josh, since Joey isn't coming back, that quarterback position obviously is open. How how open is it? How open is that position? How open should those three guys see that position and their opportunity?
Yeah, it is open. We had that conversation with all of them as we started the winter, when they all arrived here. Had that conversation again as we were wrapping up our winter before we got into spring ball. We've had a couple of those battles. You guys know that we always communicate with those guys openly, transparently, communicate with those guys together. Don't expect a guy to be named here during the course of spring ball. I think it's important that all the guys in that room learn and grow throughout the course of spring. Also have a chance to go back, in your summer months, digest it, reinstall, and come back a much better player and compete and earn it in front of their teammates as getting into training camp.
And can you enjoy be patient? How do you practice patience versus pushing these guys, knowing they're young, they haven't played, but one of them is going to start? How can you balance those two things?
You're patient in understanding that just like every player inside your program, there's going to be growth. There's going to be mistakes. What you want to see is them not making the same mistake twice. Constant growth in what they're doing and how they're controlling things at the quarterback position. The patience part, I think, that's how that correlates. You have to push them in what they're doing on the offensive side of the football. Does that mean that everything's in during the course of these 15 opportunities that we have in spring ball? Well, not necessarily, but you have to force feed those guys and expose them to what you're going to need during the course of the fall.
Coach, you talked about it, with Derek coming and what he brings to the team. Just how do you see the players develop since that program since he got here?
Yeah, I think he and his staff did a great job onboarding, sitting down with our players one-on-one. In the first 72 hours that they were here on campus, hit the ground running as far as workouts after his first day getting here, but getting to know the player, understand their goals, what they want to accomplish, where they're at, and how he and his staff can help them get to where they want to go. And that's in the physical gains that they're going to make. It's in their speed. It's in short area quickness, agility, but it's also in their mindset and how you have to approach every single day. So I think the accountability piece and everything that you're doing every single day, how that impacts your growth, taking a step forward every single day instead of one step forward, one step back, has been a big part of what I've liked about what we've done this winter, and that's a credit to Derek and the staff.
Stay in the back of Paige and Sam.
Coach, what are some individual traits that you like out of based on Brandon and Jordan McIntyre as you guys get ready for into spring practice?
Yeah, both those guys are quick-minded. They grasp what we're doing as you give them the playbook extremely well. They both have the ability, to be accurate with the football. Strong enough arm to, extend the field vertically. But both guys that I think anticipate windows extremely well over the middle of the football field. And fundamentally, for both of them, there's still a bunch of growth out there for Ryan as well. But that's what these opportunities are about, is continuing to grow every day.
Coach Mills talked about how you picked him up from the airport and brought him to your house the first time he came here. And he said he's never had that experience in all the years of coaching. Why was it so important for you to do that?
Our paths hadn't crossed. Opportunity just to get to know the individual before you just dive right into the football. Understanding opportunity to talk about past successes, things that didn't go well, what's important to expedite the process of becoming your best as fast as you can, and finding out if your vision is the same, and you have an opportunity to have a great marriage, for lack of a better word, and hit the ground running.
Brent and Vince.
You mentioned, I think, 40 new players or something like that arriving in January.
Yeah, 46.
As a coach, what are the challenges in assembling kind of the continuity and the team and the chemistry when you have that many new players? And does anything about spring practice change for you, knowing that there's no second portal now and your roster is set, barring some crazy unforeseen circumstance?
Unless you find another year of eligibility.
You see my dancing.
Yeah.
Come on.
first part of your question was.
Just assembly of basically a new team, 46 new players.
Yeah, you know, from when I first got here and, you know, the evolution of the transfer portal, you guys have heard me say it, there's more turnover than ever, right? Typically a quarter or 35% of your roster, you know, graduating, moving on, whether that's, you know, running out of eligibility or going on to the NFL. That number this year for us even higher than usual. And, because of the changes inside of college football, certainly this year, day one, like you are building a team, right? You have to be clear and, you know, what are the expectations? What does it look like to be a volunteer? And you've got to help them grow extremely quickly and what it needs to look like inside of this building. So I don't know there's a lot different than previous years. There's just more bodies that you're going through that with. And, you know, as we go through this spring, I think you're going to find out a better idea of, you know, the true leadership in each position. We have some guys that are returning that have great traits in that, but some of the guys that have transferred in have those traits as well. And so as you go through spring ball, I think you're going to find more out about your leadership as you go through, you know, these 15 practices.
Is it nice not to have to worry about your roster after these 15 practices?
Yeah, different in that there isn't a second portal. You got to be conscious of, you know, keeping your team healthy here as well, because there's no way to go get another guy here post spring ball as well.
Vince?
Jim Knowles had also mentioned that he enjoyed sitting down talking ball with you. What are you excited about when you talk football and you've watched Coach Knowles do his thing so far, and how you can marry what he's brought to the table, his experiences, and what you guys have here at Tennessee?
Yeah, I think, you know, his ability to be at different places and find a way to be elite at each of those spots, and the growth from year to year in what he's done defensively, the ability through his different spots to be a little bit different personnel-wise and be able to fit it to the guys that are on campus or that you're able to recruit to, depending on where you're at. And so I think the flexibility of what he's able to do schematically to put guys in position, his ability, you know, to understand strengths and weaknesses based on matchups and be able to subtly tweak how he's playing things. Could be with his front, could be with his coverage. It's all in his wheelhouse. You know, one of the things just in our conversations, and I know this hasn't been a coordinator and had to go somewhere else too, I think a big part of your players picking it up as quickly as they can is having guys in your staff room that understand your scheme and what you're trying to implement, the why behind it. And that's a big reason why a lot of his staff that we've hired has experience with him, and I think that's been an added plus to him onboarding here, being able to get our guys caught up as quickly as possible in our installs.
Dan and Allie?
Gosh, there's typically like cleanup surgeries this time of year. How healthy is your football team starting in spring? And since you can't add in the summer roster, how do you make sure that you do keep your team healthy throughout spring practice?
You need fundamental technique, growth, work. You have to get that work. I think, you know, some of your veterans, you got to be smart with in some of the live contact situations. I think that's important, but you still have to grow those guys. So it's a balance as you go through spring ball, based on where your roster's at, where you're at, and, you know, the understanding of what you're doing and some of the fundamental and technique work that you got to have. Example would be tackling. You know, just balancing. You know, how many high-risk situations you're putting some of your guys in.
How healthy are you?
I feel like we're in a pretty healthy spot right now. There's, you know, a couple guys that are still working through, you know, postseason injuries. Aaron Carter right now, but all those guys have done a really good job in the rehab right now.
What did you see from day one that stood out to you so far?
Fast practice today. I don't know if there's just one thing. Today, a lot of fundamentals and technique with just a little bit of scheme. So we'll go back and watch some of the scheme stuff today. But I thought, you know, our young guys in general did a good job just taking coaching and growing from one rep to the next.
Two more, Eric and Ralph.
Josh, I know everybody's different, but I'm curious for a young quarterback like Faison, making that jump from high school to college in the SEC, when does the game start to slow down for him? Is it second week? Is it fall? Is it that first scrimmage?
I think for all young guys, quarterbacks included, first 5 days of spring ball, you've got some of the installs. First 5 days, man, really hard. Game's moving really fast. It's the first time you've played against like talent on the other side of the football. Size, strength, speed, the intensity and how hard you have to play every single rep. Second 5 days, get back a little bit better, start slowing down. When you get to the third 5 days, you look back at the guy at the beginning, and he's typically a much different football player than where you started. If it's not trending that way, then that's an area of concern of how quickly he can continue to progress. By the time you get to training camp and through training camp. But all of those guys, I kind of break spring ball into thirds, and you got to stay diligent. You got to stay in the fight mentally, and physically and emotionally to gain everything that you can out of every rep every day.
Last one, right?
Coach, how have you seen the defense overall respond to what Coach Knowles is trying to implement here?
Yeah, the little work that we got in the winter, I thought they did a really good job. I think Coach Knowles, with some of his staff that has background with them, subtly how they've been able to tweak some of the things as far as how they install it. Our guys have picked up on it really quickly. Again, as we continue to go through spring ball, we'll have a better idea of where we're at.
Thank you.